Writers, do you ever blow bubbles? It's fun to blow bubbles, but what's even more fun is to try to catch them. It can be a little tricky to catch them, though. And catching bubbles reminds me of writing because catching those ideas or remembering small details that happen and then writing about them later can be hard. This was on my mind today because I had a student come up to me yesterday and say, Mrs. Tornquist, I had the best Labor Day weekend ever. I got to do so many fun things, but they're not on my heart map, so I probably can't write about them, right? The answer is, of course, you can write about them. Your life is happening now. So we want you to write about what's important to you now. Yes, some of you are writing off your heart map, and that's fantastic. But some of you are ready for a tiny topics notebook. This kind of notebook might look like this, or it might look like this. Let me get it on camera if I can. And these notebooks are where you can jot down ideas that have happened to you, something you've done, something you've experienced. You can write about them anytime. But just like catching those bubbles, if you don't write them down, you may miss out on them and never be able to tell that story. So, as I thought about my weekend, I thought about Saturday because Saturday, my husband and I went to Purdue to visit our daughters and to go to the football game with my husband's brother and sister in law. We had a great time. As I thought through that day, I thought, well, one fun thing was eating supper with our daughter Carrie and her boyfriend. And another fun event was going into the game because the stadium was packed. There were thousands of people there. And another memorable moment was when we first found our seats and we were surrounded by students and they were yelling and screaming, and it was a little crazy. So we actually changed seats. And then another thing I will always remember is when Craig and I were coming home, it was very late at night, past midnight, and we are not used to staying up that late. And we were rolling down the windows to get fresh air to keep ourselves awake. And we were hitting ourselves and we were turning up the radio and singing loudly to stay awake. So all those things happened on Saturday. And I don't know which one I want to talk about or write about, but I do know that I need to write them down in my notebook. Now, I'm not writing my whole story in this notebook. No, that's not what the notebook is for. The notebook is to collect my ideas and save them. So I might write down big crowd because the crowd was so big. That's why we changed seats. And I might write down trip home because our trip home was memorable. We were fighting sleep and had to do extraordinary things to stay awake. And I might write down special supper because we got to see our daughter. So you can tell by what I've written here that I've just written the topic, kind of like writing the title. That's all I did is just kind of write a title. But because these things happen to me, I will remember them. So today and everyday writers, what I want you to know and what I'm teaching you is writers live their lives differently. They live them differently because they notice things and because they write those things down. You are going to be given a Tiny Topics notebook by your teacher at some point, and know that anytime something happens that's exciting to you, whether it's at school, on the playground, in the cafeteria, on the bus, or maybe at home, in the neighborhood, at soccer practice, wherever and whatever, you have a place to put it so you can go back and write about it later. Let's continue with our small moment stories today, focusing on those small events, those seed stories, as we continue working in Seesaw.